A new All in the Family episode 37 fade in voiceover previously on The New All in the Family. End. Samantha's hospital room day, dusk drive. Moorfield, we're gonna work in our upcoming sessions on your experience not only from the assault leading up to your taking the pills, but also backwards through the assault, the pandemic. And even further back. Cut 2. Now it's gonna be intense because you need to be ready to go out on your own in time for that hearing. End. The house. Living room day. A fatigued Giselle is there while Mike is sitting up on the bedded couch. Giselle, what? What's this about a bed? I haven't had my coffee yet. Has Joey gone and done something really stupid? Mike, no. It's with Josh. We're trying to get each other to cut down on the cookies. And also, Joey said you're working long hours so he wants me to help. Giselle, oh, that's ridiculous. You just sit right there. You're first of all, our guest. And second, you shouldn't be waiting on us. We should be taking care of you. How much are you charging to tutor Josh? Mike, nothing. I love him. Giselle, see? Now let me get those sheets. Cut 2. End. The house. Kitchen day. The coffee is brewing and Giselle and Joey are talking by it. Giselle, did you see the flowers I picked off the floor by the door and put into a vase finally? Joey, showing unobserved panic but calm voice. Sure, I noticed them. Thank you. Giselle, what are you thanking me for? I'm supposed to be thanking you. Joey, for putting them in the vase. Why are you getting so upset? Giselle, if I have to answer that question. Joey, would you rather I didn't say thank you? Giselle, yeah, I'd rather you would have said you're welcome. And don't even ask what do I mean. It's enough having one kid whose idea of smart is far less than what it really is. Joey, look. When I got home, my dad and Josh were there telling me about this stupid bet they made. Cut 2. Joey, then I gotta keep tabs on all Mike's receipts to make sure he's not cheating. Giselle, really, Joey? You don't trust your own father? Cut 2. Joey, hey, can I get one cup at least while you go on and on and on? Giselle, I thought you were gonna get me some breakfast. Joey, yeah, that's why I need the coffee. Giselle, oh Joey. She takes the carafe and pours him a cup. Giselle, the things I do for you. Cut 2. End. The house. Living room day. Mike enters the house. Dressed in a coat but shivering and wet, with a few bags of groceries. Mike, I forgot how much food a whole family consumes. This is my son's payback. He breathes out a sigh of disenchantment and goes into the kitchen to unpack them. He pulls out a box of his and Josh's cookies and smiles a mischievous smile. Mike, I'll be glad to lose that bet. That'll be my payback. He puts the cookies on a shelf and then continues taking out the rest of the groceries and putting them where they need to be. Josh walks in. Cut 2. Josh Snow? Oh my God, I gotta go see. He starts for the door but then stops suddenly, noticing something. Mike, it's not that impressive. That's why you didn't see anything out the window. Now Chicago. That's snow you'll never forget. Josh, big smile. Hey Grandpa. Look what I see. You just lost the bet. You bought me a whole box of cookies. Mike, how you figure? I just bought it. I didn't eat it. I just want to get back at Joey for. Josh, interrupting. Yeah, that was pretty bad locking them up like that. Cut 2. End. Samantha's hospital room day drive. Moorfield, so let's get back to that dark feeling you were having a moment ago. What kind of thoughts arise when you focus on it? Samantha, pondering, drive. Moorfield, tell me why you felt like I was taking away your happiness when I was asking you about it. Samantha, well, I guess not you really, but I guess I felt bad because it always seems that whenever something good happens, it's gonna get real bad afterward. Doctor. Moorfield, why? Samantha, because it always does. Doctor. Moorfield, can you think of an example of when something good inevitably led to something bad? It could be any time in your life. Samantha, thinks a moment. Well, you know it's funny you say that. Clearly the day I had to move back home and all hell began. Doctor, Moorfield moved back home? Were you living somewhere else at the time? Samantha, yeah. That was the time my dad really lost it big and yelled at us when he found out Kamala and I were dating. 'Cause you know he really hates anything that's not the straight white, backwards conservative way. So to see his daughter dating a black girl really pissed him off. And I was like, no way. I'm not giving up the greatest thing I ever found in my life, so we both stormed off, me and Kamala, and I moved in with her. Doctor, Moorfield and her mom was okay with all that? Samantha, well, not at first, but we told her it would be temporary, hoping she'd come around before it became clear it was gonna be permanent. And she seemed to be okay with the whole thing. Doctor, Moorfield, and this was all while we were on lockdown with the pandemic? Samantha, no, I'm not there yet. Doctor, Moorfield, what about your folks? You put Kamala's mom in a grave predicament by running away in defiance of them, and I'm sure they didn't take too well to that. Samantha, well, they didn't know how to reach us 'cause they only had my number, and I just said I'm safe and they're taking good care of me. And then I just hung up 'cause I was so mad at them I didn't want to have to deal with them. Doctor, Moorfield, how long did you think this could go on realistically? Samantha, well, honestly, I didn't even have the chance, 'cause the pandemic hit like only a few days later. Doctor, Moorfield, so you stormed off with your girlfriend. Didn't want to speak to your folks and were in a situation that you liked but really didn't think through to the end how it would turn out. So what I'm curious about, I know you mentioned your father's extreme anger at your dating someone who was both black and female. Where was your mom in all this? Do you remember? Samantha, you know, I just remembered something. When my dad said, when we refused to listen to him, he said if we keep going not to come back. Doctor, Moorfield and your mom? Samantha, well, we were gone by then, so I have no idea what happened after that. Doctor, Moorfield, neither one of them came after you? Samantha, my mom called that night and that's when I told her I'm safe and hung up. After that, I just dropped it. Doctor, Moorfield, it sounds like she was very concerned about your well-being. It seems that from our first session, even though you've shared experiences of reasons you didn't like, you felt she was trying to stop you from doing things you felt were important to you. You're giving me a clear impression that she really cared about you and just wanted you to be safe and well. Samantha, well, all I know is it didn't feel like that. Doctor, Moorfield, are you mad she didn't stand up to your father? Samantha, that's part of it. But it's like, she really did stand up to him, but not for me. For herself. She could yell as much as he could. Actually, Dad was already going off like that on Josh for all the stuff he was doing, and I remember Mom was trying to get him to calm down all the time, so she must have been happy for me thinking I was probably safe away from Dad and hoping he'd finally adjust to it. And that's when the pandemic hit. And it's not even the pandemic I'm upset about, although that didn't help. It's the way my mom got so crazy and made us dress up in these like hazmat suits. Doctor, Moorfield, hazmat suits? Samantha, oh, you have no idea. It was hell there. So my dad came over and told me I had to go home, and then Kamala's mom said I had to go. So that was the hell. No Kamala. Plus I was locked in my room. No school. I got my problems with the other girls who are so stuck up about they're better than everybody. But, at least it's a place I could learn and grow and get what I need to eventually get out of that house, which, I'm sorry to say this, was like a hellhole. Doctor, Moorfield, okay. Samantha, I have to stop you. I get what the bad was. I can only imagine. Especially after you told me how opposed to your relationship with Kamala your dad was. And then to have your mom making your life crazy. But I want to ask if you can stop apologizing all the time? Are you aware of that? You've said I'm sorry so many times. Feelings are natural, but the flip side of this is that all that guilt you're feeling turns into anger. Because that's when you get in trouble. If you feel something, don't feel guilty about it. Like yesterday when you said this is the way you feel, and you stopped there, just affirming it without apologizing. In order to overcome the really horrible stuff you feel without frightening or pissing off others. It's important to embrace what you're feeling and work yourself out of it without feeling any shame or guilt. This is the safe place for you, where you can say whatever you want, and my job is to validate your feelings. There is nothing wrong for feeling anything. Now, when it comes to acting on those feelings, that's a whole different story. What you say and what you do will impact others, and there are appropriate ways and appropriate times for everything. We're gonna go over all that so you're so much more prepared for situations than you were before. But one important thing I want you to be clear about before we go on is to keep telling yourself that you are a healthy person, a capable person, an important person to others. Okay? Can you promise me you'll say that to yourself every day, like when you wake up or when you go to bed? This is what's called an affirmation. The reason for this is, and if you feel silly talking to yourself, you can say it to someone, but not me because we're already doing this in session. I mean when you're out of session and in a different environment. For example, your mom. It could be as simple as telling her, "Mom, I have to tell you this because Dr. Moorfield said it would help me. I want you to know I am a very good and capable person who is important to others, like you." Do you think you can do that? Samantha, well, maybe I'll start with the mirror first. And then I'll work my way up to Kamala. And then, when it feels less weird, I'll say it to my mom. Dr. Moorfield, with excitement, that's a great idea. And I didn't even mention the mirror. But you somehow knew. Saying a positive affirmation in front of a mirror is very powerful as therapy. Samantha, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at a mirror every day when I make up my face and hair. Dr. Moorfield, exactly. So now you have your mind to make up too. That's excellent, Samantha. Int. The house, living room day, dusk. Joey enters from his usual side entrance. His jacket showing some unmelted snowflakes along with other signs of dampness. Joey, I hate this weather. It's Fox Ridge all over again. I hated that town. He throws his coat on a hook and looks around. Joey, anybody home? After a pause, I'll grab myself a beer. I don't even want a beer. I want a hot meal. Why does she have to pick today of all days? He breathes out in frustration and slumps down in his chair. After a few moments of silence, Joey, real loud, anybody home? To self, morons. The sound of footsteps upstairs is heard. Down the stairs comes Mike. Mike, hey Joey. Joey, well, nice to see you. Mike, I got all the stuff from the store this time. I think I'm finally starting to get the hang. Joey, starting is right. You think you might go to the next step and actually prepare a hot meal from it so a hungry working man doesn't have to come home to starve. Mike, well, excuse me, Your Highness. I didn't realize you called me in as a short order chef. I thought I was here for Josh. It's enough that I do the shopping. Joey, well, I guess you see it's not enough because now there's no meal. Mike, oh well, I guess we'll all have to starve. It would do your belly some good anyway. Josh suddenly bounced down the stairs. Josh, I'm hungry. What's for dinner? Joey, see what I mean? You don't know how to be prepared. Mike, what are you talking about? You know, Giselle said to me I'm not here to work for you. That's not my job. I came here to help Josh get ready for college. That's it. I was only shopping as a favor. Now you want me to cook too? Joey, yeah. I had to work plus trudge back home in the snow, and it would be really nice to have a meal all ready. Josh goes toward the kitchen. Josh, you guys gonna argue again? Never mind, I'll get it myself. As he's through the door, morons. Joey, what was that? Mike, smiling, he's picking up your language but definitely not your behavior. Int. Samantha's hospital room day, dusk drive. Moorfield, so let's get back to what we were talking about. The pandemic had just started and your dad made you come home, which you said was like hell. Can you Samantha, cutting in. Well, in my case, it was really my mom, who became so impossible. So that actually made me like my dad more than before, which was kind of weird because he didn't want to go along with her crazy rules either. And Josh, well, he was already on lockdown as punishment, so nothing really changed about him. And that made it even more unfair to me, who had done nothing wrong. Dr. Moorfield, you said something about. He got arrested? Samantha, oh, that's right, but I only mentioned that because it just meant I got ignored right while I was going through the toughest time in my life. Dr. Moorfield, tell me about that. What made it so tough? Samantha, well, it was a painful time. I can't even remember it right. To be honest with you, even though I practically passed out. The moment the pills got into me were like the happiest time I ever had. Pause, and then, next thing I knew, I'm being rushed to the hospital and I can't really remember exactly, but it was like I could never be happy again. Dr. Moorfield, well, let's go back to before the pills. Try to remember if you can. I know this is hard. What was it like during that time leading up to the pills? Like, just tell me about B when you took the pills. Can you remember anything from that time? Like you said, Josh got arrested. That must have really affected you. Samantha, I know, that's really strange. Because I was never affected by Josh like that. Like, we'd always argue and he was like the biggest pain. But it all seems so small to me now. It's like, after the assault, it all became irrelevant. Except I did kind of hate him for getting arrested and causing my folks to ignore me. But I actually felt for him, like, I didn't want to see him get beaten like we did. I remember asking my dad was anything gonna happen to him. And he said he didn't care. But I cared because my dad had no idea what could happen. I was really worried for my brother. I remember the time he held me when I was having nightmares after the assault, and it really helped. He was the only one home at the time and he was locked in his room. But I needed someone to comfort me, so I unlocked his room and talked to him. It was really good. Dr. Moorfield, wow, so this person who you used to fight with suddenly became a source of great comfort to you. Samantha, well, I don't know about great, but yeah, Dr. Moorfield, and so his getting arrested must have hurt you because you were losing someone who meant something important to you. Just like you were losing Kamala because your mom wouldn't let her come over. Samantha, yeah, Dr. Moorfield, so I can sort of see how the tension was all building for you, especially with your mom. It sounds like of all the people, she was the one, at least during the pandemic and also especially after the assault, who hurt you the most. I want to go into all that because you mentioned she got so crazy that she made you wear special outfits just to stay healthy. She must have really worried about the danger of COVID. Samantha, yeah. My dad said it was just a hoax. So I think it was somewhere in the middle. Dr. Moorfield, do you really think that? Or were you just being affected by what they thought? Samantha, I didn't have a chance to think about anything. Dr. Moorfield, why not? Samantha, cause they were just making up their minds and nothing I said or felt mattered. I had to follow what they decided. Dr. Moorfield, alright, there are a couple of things here. First of all, in hindsight, obviously a wardrobe change was an overreaction on your mom's part. But, at the same time, this was a very contagious and also very deadly virus, and still is. We still need to exercise caution. As you see, in the hospital, all staff are required to mask up. You'll probably, although I don't know for sure, be required to wear a mask in court. This was and has been a virus about which we still know very little. So some caution is wise. And, in that respect, it doesn't matter how you feel, at least from an infectious disease standpoint. You have to be self-protective. Samantha, oh yeah, I remember. Kamala got really upset at me when we went on the march and I removed my mask without even thinking about it. She said I was carrying a sign that said Black Lives Matter, but did Black Lives really matter to me if I was gonna remove my mask and get everybody infected? Dr. Moorfield, did that upset you? Samantha, well, actually, it was really the way my mom carried on that upset me, like 2 years of extreme punishment for something I didn't even do.
Okay, I have to end there because an alarm went off and that cuts off the recording. As you can see, there's a lot of juicy stuff in there. Um, the part that had gotten cut off in the previous episode, I think a lot of it is in this episode because I moved a lot of it. And actually, this version of episode 37 is just preliminary. And probably most of what has to be moved to 38 hasn't even been, you haven't heard it yet because it got cut off, I think, after 20 minutes. So it's probably like 20 pages into a 22-page script. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.